It is the morning sports desk for Friday, the 29th of March. And Corey, it's a good Friday to talk about the Minnesota Twins, who are 1-0 on the season. They win, I think 5-2 is the final score over Kansas City, either 4-2, something like that. Either way, the Twins get the win. And Corey, the Twins may never lose again.
Undefeated, and if you take 162 and you subtract the Twins' wins, and then you subtract the next team's losses, and then you add 1, that is the Twins' magic number, and that means the Twins' magic number has dropped from 163 to 162. Let's go.
Here we go. Let's start the countdown. We're back. And let's just go right into this game. First of all, the Fanatics jerseys, you can't really tell with the Twins with like the lettering and the number, but with the lettering on the front and the back, you can tell with the numbers. They just feel, those jerseys look cheap, man. Did you see the New York Yankees with theirs? Their uniform looks different, so they no longer have the white trim on their jerseys. So it looks cheap. And then also they were playing in Houston and they were sweating through their uniforms. Like it looked really, really bad. Anyway, just to remind, we'll look up some pictures later after the show. I'll show you them. They don't look good. Anyway, that's just a quick aside. But the Twins get started with the regular season, and Buxton lead off center field. Here we go. First pitch swinging, pops it up, and out number 1. Ryan Jeffers, number 2. Here we go to 2 pitches into the at-bat and pops that one up. Okay, not the start we wanted. Here comes Royce Lewis. Okay, pitch number 1 doesn't look like he knows what's going on. Pitch number 2, more of the same. Pitch number on the middle in part of the plate, and Royce Lewis hit it for, I think that got everybody locked right back in. The same way that Royce Lewis hitting that home run in game 1 of the wild card series last year just kind of made everybody go, all right, here we go. Like, strap in, let's do this. That home run did. Corey, were you able to hear much of the
Well, I guess my question for you is, with 161 and 2/3 games, what's the right way to say it? With over 161 games left in the season, were you that ready to give up on the Twins after a first pitch pop-up?
No, but I think it's just one of those where it's like you're just nervous. You know what I mean? There's a lot of nervous energy on opening day because you need to get the first, your first at bat, your first run, your first whatever, first win, whatever it is. Like, you got to shake off the rust and kind of get back into it. And everybody, like, the anxiousness of opening day in a good way started to fade in those first 2 at bats. And like, okay, I guess we're back into it. It'll take a little bit to get the offense going. And Royce Lewis is like, nope, we're into this thing. Like, keep that energy.
I didn't know you were so emotional about this kind of stuff, CJ. That 2 at-bats into a season and you were already like starting to feel the impending disappointment of a season bestow upon your brain and an entire year. I didn't know you were that like.
I'm not saying I'm in that spot. I'm just saying that there was a lot of, it's a very, I'm setting the stage is where we're at here. And then
1 home, and then 2 batters later, a guy hits a home run, and you're like, "Let's go!"
Right? Exactly. Yes. Yeah. It's the masculine urge to say we're back 5 minutes after saying it's over. I don't mean to get too critical, but Corey, I think tomorrow is a must-win game for the Twins.
Hey, keep it rolling,
People throw must-win games in April. Unless your team starts 0-6, it's not a must-win game.
And a Twins team has started 0-6 before and needed a must-win game in that next week. Anyway, I'm just giving you a hard time. I think it's funny. Obviously, there's a lot of excitement to start the season, and you just want Buxton to put together an at bat and to have it like fizzle out like that in 1 pitch. You just kind of go, oh, that's gross.
It definitely seemed like a game plan to attack, and then it was like, okay, this is not working out.
So anyway, yeah. So obviously and he pounded that ball. It did Lewis. He smoked it, and that was immediately what how much real time? 45 minutes, an hour later of real time, and you are now. I understand where the feeling of being hit in the face with a frying pan.
Yeah. So we get to the third inning. Royce Lewis up again, hits takes what the pitcher gives him, hits a nice soft little single into left field. Margot got a single the at bat before. You have runners on first and second with nobody out, I think, something like that. Maybe 2 out. Doesn't matter. Carlos Correa comes up to the plate and lashes a double down the left field line. And you're like, here we go. Carlos Correa had a nice at bat in the first inning. By the way, finished the game, Corey, 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a double. But it was on that double that all of a sudden you're watching that ball go down the line. You're like, all right, here we go. We're going to get 2 runs off this play. And then if you're watching the TV broadcast, you just hear Justin Morneau say, uh-oh. And you're like, what? What was the uh-oh? What was the uh-oh? And then you see Royce Lewis limping and you're like, that's the worst thing that could have happened. So that's where the emotion starts coming. That's where I did legitimately go like, like you do get swept away in that for a second because you see him limping. And then you see the trainers walk out there, and then you see Ed Julian sub immediately in, and you're like, well, that's not good. And it was officially labeled a quad injury for Royce Lewis. So they're going to do some MRI testing. It depends because Royce Lewis, after the game, like in a whole suit and tie and everything, basically was like, it just felt like a cramp. Blah, blah. He's like obviously in very good spirits. And I'm like, is this a good sign? And then somebody else put out, remember, Royce Lewis is not an honest narrator when it comes to his injuries. Like he's always like, it's going to be okay. I'll just rub some dirt on it. I'll get back out there. And like, Royce, your femur fell out of your body. Like you can't play. It's like, I can get back tomorrow. I think if I work hard, put a little stuff on it. So that's where things sit. We'll know today. Here's the thing with the Royce Lewis injury. He had 2 great at-bats, and you're like, here we go. This is going to be a great campaign. And now he could miss a few days. That's the easiest thing. He'll miss a few days. He's day-to-day. The worst-case scenario is he goes to the 60-day IL and misses half the season, which would just be a devastating blow to this team. Corey, kind of what's your initial gut reaction?
Well, what I saw was if it's a grade 1, I'm just trying to quote whoever. I don't know this stuff actually. If it's a grade 1, it could be a couple of weeks, maybe a month, up to 4 weeks, something
2
like
to
that.
4, yeah.
If it's a grade 2, it's months that we're talking about. Obviously not ideal, CJ. If that is the case, I get him being positive. That dude's had to overcome a lot of leg injuries in his career, and he probably doesn't recover the way he does without the attitude that he has. But we're starting to run out of muscle groups and tendons for that guy to injure. He's done the top of the leg now with a quad. He's done the back of the leg with the hamstring. He's had ACLs. I mean, all we're missing is the other muscles on the other legs, and then like a calf injuries, and he's almost exhausted every leg injury up to this point, which I guess is the positive. Only 6 more injuries in his legs to go, and we should get a full healthy Royce Lewis season.
My initial reaction, this was just because of recency bias with the Vikings. So it was like, if he like popped his Achilles, I'm gonna cry. Like I will legit be, it's the new meme format. It's I'm crying in Walmart right now. I'm on my knees in Walmart right now. That would be me. If Royce Lewis ended up like, if you could see his Achilles like pop like it did with Kirk Cousins. That obviously is not what happened, but man, would that have been devastating. But yeah, it's Royce Lewis's leg is like that TikTok or whatever, where the guy grabs the turkey leg that's been sitting in the smoker and you can just see all the meat just come right off the bone. Like that's it. That's where his legs are at right now. But we'll have to see what the official diagnosis is. The Twins did hang on to that 2-1 lead for a while. Pablo Lopez on the very first hitter he faced had a sweeper that just hung a little bit too much over the plate. Opening day jitters as that extra spin on the ball, as Justin Morneau pointed out, and he hit it in to the left field seats. And since that point, Pablo Lopez pitched 7 strong innings, only gave up 3 hits after that, struck out 7, didn't walk anybody. And, I'm being a little snarky, but I'm also being half serious when I posted this yesterday, was that the Pablo Lopez 2024 AL Cy Young campaign is off to a good start, wouldn't you say, Corey?
It's off to a very good start. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he did exactly what you need the ace of a team who wants to win a division is supposed to do, which is shut down a divisional opponent. There is, I really try to be probably excessively reasonable about what's going on. The Royce Lewis thing stinks, and that could have some long-term repercussions. That's very real. I don't know that I would have been sad if things would have turned sideways for Pablo. It's fun. It's fun to be excited. It also doesn't. I'm not saying this to you. I have to say this to myself. It doesn't mean anything.
Right.
Like it was a great way to start. You obviously want to start in a good fashion, but it's one game of 162. We talked about it all last year. This is about winning weeks and about winning series. And if you can, there's 17 weeks or something like that in a baseball season, just like there's 17 weeks in a football season. If you can win the week, that's your ultimate goal. Be 1-0 at the end of the week. Be 1-0 by April. Have a winning record by April 6th, and you can technically be 1-0 on the season. Those are the sorts of like small victories that I think will be really important. But as far as to have opening day under your belt, and honestly, I'm most thankful that I didn't have to hear anybody give the beer opener joke. That's the thing I'm most happy about, is that I didn't have to scroll through social media and see that stupid joke about the losing the opener.
Keep in mind, Corey, that the Twins opening day at Target Field is next week. So that is still in play. You're not out of the woods yet.
No, I am out of the woods. They won the season opener, CJ. I will have nothing to do with that stupid beer opener joke. I have nothing to do with it. It's the dumbest joke ever.
The Twins end up winning the game later in the innings. They tacked on a few insurance runs. Griffin Jackswell giving up a leadoff walk to Witt. Ended up stranding him.
Bench him.
He gave up a base runner, therefore he is cooked. And it's the thing of like, somebody put this out on Twitter of like, well, we just got to get through the next 6 weeks before we can actually get some good sample sizes to start like actually starting to make conclusions on where things are headed. And you can't get to that point unless you get through the first game. And that's where the Twins are at. And we'll just kind of see where things go. My opening day vibes were Pablo Lopez is good. Carlos Correa obviously it's one game and we're trying not to get carried away by one game, but Carlos Correa came out there and hit a double. He drew a walk on a very nice first at bat, and later in the game legged out an infield single to get his second RBI of the day. And somebody tracked it, his sprint speed, which was like 28 feet per second, or there's some whatever thing that there is for how fast he ran. But it was noticeably faster than last season. And of course, the plantar fasciitis and all that stuff that had Carlos Correa said, I'm slow as F all the time last season to reporters, because they're like, why are you grounding into so many double plays? He's like, I'm slow as F. Like, I can't run right now with my ankle. And last year's Carlos Correa doesn't like that out and safe, and ends up being safe on that play. So that's a good sign. And I think whether one of the two, if Buxton and or Correa can have a bounce back season, that helps out this Twins team a lot.
It's pretty straightforward. Your best players need to play their best. Mm-hmm. I sorry, I don't have much more. You're exactly right. Carlos Correa needs to be awesome because he's an awesome baseball player.
Did you see some of the backhand plays he made at short? Like right away, he's already locked in defensively. And I get it. Like we can get a little too carried away about that, but remember some of the shortstops the Twins have had in their history. No offense to Pedro Florimon and Alexi Casilla and Adam Everett or whatever your name is. Carlos Correa is the best shortstop I've seen in a Twins uniform, and it's not even close. And every time you just see him make tough plays look so easy, it just makes you so glad he's on your baseball team.
Yeah, he's awesome, man. Like that's great. Everyone should have bought a Carlos Correa jersey when he signed. And now that they signed him for a little more long term, you should absolutely, if you're a jersey guy, you should have a Carlos Correa, because he is. We talked about it when they signed. Like he could go down in Twins lore. He's that good at baseball. And it's pretty cool to have that guy in your team.
It's awesome. So they'll play Kansas City on Saturday. They're off today. Corey's favorite rule of the built-in off days early in the season.
So stupid.
And they're going to play Saturday. It'll be Joe Ryan on the bump. And here we go. Twins last year started the season with the sweep in Kansas City. Might as well do it again.
Screw you, Kansas City. There. I feel better now.
Other notes around around baseball, and I want to end on this because I shared it with you yesterday. Mike Trout, best player in baseball outside of Shohei Ohtani, best player in the American League, you can say now. And first at bat of the game at Camden Yards, smashes a home run to left field, and Angels up 1-0. Here we go. They proceeded to lose 11-3. He was the only starter for the Angels that recorded a hit, and things just imploded right away. Now they're playing Baltimore, and they're going to be awesome this year, but somebody save Mike Trout, for the love of God. Please get him out of there.
It's one of those, like, you feel terrible because guys like Ohtani just bounce, right? Like, I want a chance to win. And you want to be able to praise a guy like Trout. I mean, I know he got paid very handsomely, and it's hard to say no to that. And being a fan of teams who are considered small market, it drives me up the wall when people talk about, like, Anthony Edwards needs to go somewhere where he can get recognized. And I don't like that at all. I don't like it at all. And I don't want to be the guy who does that for Mike Trout, but he's going to die in the abyss. He will have nothing to show for his superior baseball playing abilities when his career is all said and done. And that stinks. And because of it, he's not going to get the credit he deserves 20 years after he's done playing. People are going to be like, yeah, but, like,
what was his signature postseason?
What did he do? And you could point to every single thing, but, like, at some point, winning and being on an important team it just matters. It's why Derek Jeter matters, because Derek Jeter was really good on a very good team. Mike Trout has been really good. Somebody has to be good on a bad team. Somebody has to be the bad player on a bad team. That's oversimplifying it, but it stinks that guy's not going to ever get the recognition he deserves, because this has been now a decade of him doing unhumanly things on a baseball field, and then them losing by double-digit runs.
Right. It's the old Ironsides joke or whatever the thing put up, but that's and that's, like, the Angels are not a small market team. That's the other part where I don't feel as bad saying it. It's not like he's on Oakland or something like that, where it's like, that's all they have. You're the Angels. You're synonymous with throwing money at free agents and willing to spend and do all this stuff. Yet you can't put a team around Mike Trout. That's where I'm okay pulling the plug. But either way, I think that's pretty much it for the opening day notes around baseball. Let's talk about our bracket challenge quick.
Okay. Of course, Basketball Mayhem presented by the Liquor Depot and Staples. We had opening Sweet 16 action yesterday. When you look at I guess we're calling it the VIP group, those of us here at the radio station competing, I am still in first place now at 55 points. I'll come back to that in just a second. Zeke is in second with 54. Kyle is in third with 52. CJ has 43. Liquor Depot 38. And Mike Mellon is just 37. We'll get to the overall leaderboard, but CJ, even though I'm winning right now, I lost my champion. I had Arizona winning the whole thing. So that ain't good for me. I just really, what I need is everyone else to have a terrible weekend.
Well, see, here's the thing. Looking at my bracket, my one side, if you look at the bottom right quadrant of the bracket, I have nobody left. I have no points possible in that one. North Carolina lost yesterday. They were my pick to get out of there. I have nobody left in that quadrant. The top left quadrant, I did very, very well on. I have UConn and Illinois in that Elite Eight game, and UConn is my national champion. So there is still hope for me. But Marquette is the only team I have left on the top right side. So I need UConn and Marquette to win their next. I need Marquette to win today and Sunday. And that's all the points I can get from them. And I need UConn to still be my national champion. And that's how I can salvage things. But it's not looking great for my bracket right now.
Well, I was able to salvage things a little bit in that UNC bracket because I did have Arizona coming out of that and as my national champion. Whoops. But a minor salvage because I did pick Alabama to upset North Carolina. So I am at least like I was able to earn that point. Now, as of the Elite Eight game, it's over for me in that side of things. And obviously today is going to be kind of a make or break day around the brackets. Our overall leaderboard, CJ, Julie Bushinger remains at the top. She has 62 points. Michael Willis has 60. Corey Wilson has 58. Those are the top three. Matt Rowland, 57. Corey Wilson, Jeremy Dukowicz, John Hillica with 56. Dave Gottwalt, Kenny Callahan, and Corey Tackman with 55 round out the overall top 10 leaderboard. Games continue today. Remainder of the Sweet 16 games and then Elite 8 games over the weekend. I've said it once. I've said it again. Good luck to no one but me. I hope your brackets take a huge, huge dumperooski.
Well, it's always funny when you get that first weekend and the things start to shift, and then like somebody could be in first place, and then you look at the rest of their bracket and you go, yeah, they picked some good upsets, but now that first day of Sweet 16 action, like you talked about, your national champion is out. That is like, okay, well now my odds have significantly lowered. So it's fun to see because it feels like it's completely reshuffled on our leaderboard from all the listeners trying to win the top prize of the Liquor Depot certificate. So that's it's very fun to see. And I always root for chaos, especially since my bracket's basically not relevant. So always root for chaos.
How very selfish of you to root for chaos when you're completely out of it.
Yes. I'll even say it. I root for chaos even if it goes against my bracket. Chaos is always much more fun when you do the NCAA tournament brackets.
Cool. What's next?
All right. So are we having fun talking about basketball, Corey? Would you say that this is a fun basketball conversation?
Yeah, let's stick a fork in it, should we?
Yeah, no, that's done. No more fun today. It's a Friday.
How about this? How about an Easter weekend? Let's stick a spear in the side of this basketball talk, shall we?
Yes, I was going to say it's a good Friday it's a good Friday to feel bad because obviously this is the day Jesus died. So there you go. There we go. We can all feel miserable today. The Minnesota Timberwolves have
CJ, were you there when Glenn Taylor made his announcement?
I think Glenn Taylor is so old. I think you actually there's like pictures of him he was one of those guys in the crowd yelling at Jesus. I think that's where we sit.
Oh yeah, he definitely screamed at Pontius Pilate a couple times. Like, slow your roll, Glenn.
He was the guy doing the crucify chant.
Boo!
Yeah, I don't like the cut of this Jesus guy's jib. What's he doing here? I can't sell my fields in this condition. Anyway, so there's a little bit more controversy from when we last talked about the Timberwolves ownership. Where we were at yesterday was Glenn Taylor basically said, nope, you didn't hit your payment on time. Not for sale anymore. You can't become majority owners. Glenn Taylor basically did a local media tour. And my goodness, the utter gall of this man to props to him in the terms of like just being willing to own, just being like, I'm going to do this. Try and stop me. You know what I mean? And he comes out and does some interviews. I think he was on the Chad Hartman show on WCCO radio. And he basically just said, because people brought up the fact of like, are you just like backing out of the deal because you know that the Timberwolves are worth much more now than they were 3 years ago? And I'm trying to find the official tweet and the official quote. He said, partly so, yes. I have a responsibility to those who have been on this ride for the last 40 years. Corey, what's your reaction?
Boo, hiss. And another boo and another hiss. That he like, this is we should be clear and fair about some of this.
Right.
Lori and A-Rod have been late on many payments throughout this entire process.
And they got an extension.
And they've always been able to be given an extension, and this is not the first time that they didn't make a payment by a certain deadline and always got the extension. And Glenn Taylor finally said, I'm just trying to be fair about this.
Right.
Glenn Taylor finally said, we're done with this extension baloney. Like, make your payments. You either have the money to make the payments or you don't. I'm getting sick of waiting for you and waiting for this to happen. And then in the background, all the while, the Timberwolves cannot lose a basketball game. Right. They're just pounding everybody, and they're going to play Denver tonight, and they match up really well against. And
it's going to be a fun game.
It's going to be an awesome basketball game, and they might be in first place when this weekend is over. And they're going to host playoff games, and they've got a chance to make a run. And this guy's been a part of it for forever, and he finally was like fed up with it and sick of it, and said, I'm sick of waiting for you guys to do this. It's mine. It's been mine this whole time. We've been trying to transfer this over to you. Make a payment. I understand that aspect of it. Other than the part where, gosh dang it, does it feel used car salesman sleazy?
Right. That's the thing. It feels when he comes out and says, because here's the thing, A-Rod and Lori put out a statement yesterday to add to this drama saying, we put in our payment on time. What are you talking about? Which means that this is going to go to court, and this is going to be a years-long process.
Oh, yeah.
This is so going to court, and this is so going to once again bring drama into a franchise that has just like flies on poop, Corey. The drama has just been to this franchise, and it continues. Somebody said on Twitter yesterday, it's like a soap opera storyline, and that's where we're at with this whole thing. Like, it's just tiring, and fans of the team are so sick of it. And look, you're right. Like, that's everybody's dogging on Darren Wolfson for basically going out yesterday and saying they didn't have the money. And he's obviously somebody who's very close with Glenn Taylor. And a lot of people are like, he's his mouthpiece and he's whatever. And I'm not buying that. Like, does he get information from Glenn Taylor? Obviously, like, he does interviews with him like monthly. But it's okay to get that information from him and put it out there, because we know that's where he's probably getting it from. It's like back in the day, there'd be those old newspapers that'd be like the Sacramento Democrat or something like that. And when you'd read it, okay, like this is a Democrat's perspective. And then you'd read the Republican paper. And then you kind of know where it goes in the middle is probably like where they intersect with each other is probably where the actual facts are. And it's the same thing with this. We're hearing Lori's side of things and Rodriguez's, and now we're also hearing a little bit of Glenn Taylor's side of things, and where things are going to meet up is where we're going to find it. And it is important to hear Glenn Taylor talk about this, because in his mind, and what his story is going to be, is that they weren't making their payments. And as we talked about yesterday, it's not like Lori and Rodriguez were swimming in cash. So that is to be fair in that aspect. But you're right. At the midnight hour, when it felt like they made their final payment, for it to just stop, and for him to, it's not just that he canceled and said they're no longer for sale. That in and of itself is a little tough, but if the money's not right, fine. But also then to come back in and kind of say, like, to have this media tour, which first of all, I'm sure his lawyers are not happy about him going on and saying stuff like this, because it just comes off as so like read the room, my guy. Nobody wants to hear from you right now, unless you're going to say, look, they didn't make their payment. I have disputes on where their money is, and we're going to need to get this settled out in court. That's a very perfectly normal thing to say. But to come out and basically confirm people's priors, that it feels like you're kind of pulling the wool out from underneath the Lori and Rodriguez, that's where it feels a little that used car salesman like. And that's where, again, like, he had a chance to leave and kind of let his legacy not be great on the way out, but salvage a little bit of his legacy on the way out of going, I kept the Wolves in Minnesota. Here we go. I get to leave as the Wolves are on the ascension, and I get to take partial credit for that. He could have did that, but like typical people in that position, he wants it to be all his. And that's where things are getting very interesting.
It's just a huge bummer. It's just a huge bummer. And I don't know that Lori and A-Rod are the right owners, but like to take your ball and go home because you looked up one day and you were feeling some seller's remorse.
That's a direct quote from Lori and Rodriguez.
That stinks. That is not a it's lame. It's lame. And the thing about this is right now Lori and Rodriguez are 40% minority owners.
Right.
Will it remain that way? Or can they go, hey man, we had this plan. You were the one who backed out of the deal. We were following through with what was set in stone. Give us our money back. Like this is the years long sort of process that is still awaiting here, because also I'm going to try not to sound like an ageist, but that guy's so old he could run for president. I mean,
he's 82.
The interviews that he get was just like, there's a certain sound that comes across when you get to a certain age that you just don't sound like you're there anymore. You're not completely on planet Earth with the rest of us.
Right. Somebody hit it faster than others. Some people take a while, and he's in that.
He's in it. He just like, come on, it's frustrating.
Get out of the way. That's basically what everybody's kind of saying to him. And he's like, no, he's it's the like old guy and everything. It's the end of Avengers Endgame when it's like Captain America's all old and he's just sitting there and they ask him something and he goes, no, I don't think I will. That's exactly, it's like, finish selling the team. No, I don't think I will. And what Lori and Rodriguez do, because they made this agreement with the intention of being owners of a team, like majority owners. They don't want to be partial owners. They want to be majority owners. And like you said, do they go, fine, we'll back out, like you can have it, but we want our money back, or you need to give us this. Like you wasted our time for 3 years. You need to, so we can go buy a team. Like we want to be in that market. You didn't hold up your end of the bargain. We want the money back. Glenn Taylor, of course, said, well, they're more than welcome to keep their shares of the team. So we'll see. And I didn't hear the interview, how he exactly said it, but it just comes off as snarky when you say it like that. Oh, well, you're more than welcome to continue doing your role. But now there's reports that Lori and Rodriguez's relationship with Taylor has deteriorated over the last few months. There's also a report from Patrick Royce, the Star Tribune, who, by the way, Glenn Taylor also owns the Star Tribune, which they're very upfront about. But just so you know, said basically that in January or February even, which is not months ago, like it is, but it isn't. And recently, Lori approached Glenn Taylor about going in on a business venture. So to his side, it's like, it's not deteriorated as bad as what, it's a little bit of optics war right now between both of their sides. And this is going to get ugly. And once again, Glenn Taylor is going to have something go wrong behind the scenes or at the top level that's going to distract everyone from the actual on-court stuff, which is the Timberwolves are going to be filled on the court. And I'm not talking about the basketball court. They're going to litigation on this, and this is going to be just awesome. So thanks for wasting everybody's time with this.
That shouldn't hamper payroll in the future or anything.
Right. That's not going to hamper the view. This franchise finally got some stability for the first time in 20 years. What are we doing here? I get why he's doing it, whether it's cynical money-making thing, which Glenn Taylor's 82. I don't think he cares about doubling his money. He says the money goes
to the team. Does. He's a billionaire. I'm not here to throw every billionaire under the bus, but that's what that guy cares about.
Well, he says a lot of the money from the Wolves goes to the Taylor Foundation, which whatever. My point is,
I think he doesn't get any write-offs for that.
I think this is, and I think it's more of an ego thing. It's got to be like,
Of course.
He wants to be the guy. He doesn't want to be, because he's thinking legacy. He's thinking when I leave and the Wolves, let's say they win a title in the next 3 to 5 years. He's like, I'm not going to get any credit for that. He's like, I want my credit. It's like, my guy. Bringing in Tim Connolly to run the basketball operations department was Lori and Rodriguez driving that ship. Taylor obviously had to give the final sign off. Don't get me wrong, but it was Lori and Rodriguez. And if you're Tim Connolly, president of basketball operations, everybody knows how bad of an owner Glenn Taylor is. You hop on because Lori and Rodriguez are eventually going to become owners. And now how does this change your outlook? Are you looking to get out of there? What are you thinking of doing? Not maybe in the next year, but the moment things go haywire, are you going to bail? Not the first time that's happened in this team. So great. Awesome. All right, everybody, have a great Easter weekend. Just so you know, in 2 days, we'll celebrate Jesus coming back. So that will, maybe that means that Glenn Taylor will give up this fight on Easter Sunday. If that happens, we'll be very happy. Other than that, right now, have a great Easter weekend. We'll see you guys on Monday, and hopefully some good Royce Lewis news as well. It's been the Morning Sports Desk for a Good Friday, March 29th.